Hello YouTube and welcome back. This is Nico and you're watching Dare to Game. Today we're playing Life is Feudal. So basically what happened was the developers over at MindIllusion, I think that's the company, asked me if I wanted to try out their game. And apparently it's been out for a bit, but they just had a recent update, 0.20, I think is what the new update is for it. Anyway, so it's a big MMO. The basic premise of the game is that it's a persistent world with day and night cycles and weather patterns and all sorts of stuff like that. It's supposed to be hardcore, as realistic as possible. You know, like, you can do almost anything, but it's not super easy to do. You gotta learn how to do everything. So at the point where I am in the game, right when you get into the game, you start on this island, and it's like a tutorial, and you can either do the smart thing and learn how to do everything on that island, or do what I did, and just go straight for the beacon and get to the mainland and then be super confused. But yeah, so that's where we are. I've found a house. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think anyone owns it, at least not anymore, because it seems to be completely deserted. And there's all sorts of stuff in it, so I've been helping myself. I don't know if that's in the spirit of the game. So far, this is just going to be a first impressions video. I'm not going to do a lot in this video. Maybe a little stuff in the background. But yeah, so we'll go through some of the stuff that I like so far. So that this is just first impressions, but the customization seems to be pretty sweet. It does seem like you can build almost anything. I did a decent amount of exploring already, and I've seen some pretty sweet castles, towns, all sorts of stuff. So clearly, once you learn how to do it, you can build almost anything, and it can look pretty awesome. Graphics aren't terrible. I have them set a little bit low because I seem to be having a lot of stuttering issues. But there's plenty of weapons, armor, tools, all that sort of stuff. Everything's pretty legit, so like to get firewood you have to chop down a tree, but to chop down a tree you can't just punch it. You know, you can break off branches or take bark or stuff like that off it without any tools, but if you want to chop it down you need an axe. The control system seems to be relatively straightforward. Basically you just right click on anything and then you have all your options here, so you could gather, sprout, or bark, snap off a branch, or cut down, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. So it's all pretty standard. So what I like about it, a lot of customization. It does seem to be pretty hardcore, so if that's your cup of tea, if you really like a game that's kind of grindy and takes a long time to get your payoff, you know, this would probably be a pretty good game for you. The bad that I've noticed so far is that, like I've probably stated once or twice, it does seem to be a bit janky, which is normal for pre-release, you know, where it's not the full version of the game, it's an evolving game, so it's normal to be a bit janky. As far as the community goes, I haven't really noticed any toxicity. I know I saw some of that on the internet before playing this, that people were like, yeah, but the community's toxic. I haven't really gotten that. It seems like they're all pretty straightforward. You ask something, I mean, every once in a while you get kind of a sarcastic remark, but usually it's, just regular people saying regular things, helping you out if you need it. It does seem to take a relatively long time to load in when you launch the game. It'll take a significant amount of time to connect to the server. I don't know if that's just me with my internet or if it's the game, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. I'm trying to play with some buddies, and we spawned into the world, and unfortunately I'm having a lot of trouble getting to the same place because the map is huge, and it takes a long time to get across. So while, yes, that is realistic and it's immersive because it's a very, very large world, and it, if you want to meet up with people, it takes a long time and it's kind of difficult. It's kind of a pain, but it's also, it's kind of realistic, and it's nice to have a world that's that big because it, adds to the immersion. And of course you've got all the dynamic. So you can see here on the map is pretty large. I'm way down in the southwest corner down there. It's got all sorts of different regions. You've got a desert sort of biome, almost deserty grasslands. Then in the middle, you've got your moderate place where I'm sure 90% of the people live. Then you've got a more wooded, mountainous region, and then snow up top. And of course, around the outside of the mainland, you're spotted with islands. Like I said, I'm on one of those islands. I spawned down here, and I swam over to the island. That was like the first thing I did. So yeah, that actually does a pretty good job of covering what I've learned so far. It could just be me, but the combat seems a little wonky. I got killed by a boar relatively early on. It's a little counterintuitive, the crafting. It could just be me. I'm not huge into survival MMOs, so it could just be for me, but from what I've seen so far, the learning curve seems to be pretty steep. In my opinion, a perfect MMO or a perfect, any game like this should be easy to learn, but difficult to master. So it should be a game that when you pick it up, the controls should be pretty intuitive. It should be pretty easy to figure out how things work. But then your more advanced techniques or your more advanced skills should take more time to learn or whatever, But so far this one, at least in my experience, has been difficult to learn, and since I haven't been able to even learn the basics, at least for me so far, it's impossible to master. If you've got any tips and tricks, I'd love to hear them in the comments below, but that's going to do it for this one. If you'd like to pick up this game, they gave me a link, which I'll put down in the description, which will send you over there, and you can use a code that I'll put down there to get you 40% off. So, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. If you did, I can assume you liked the content, and hopefully you'll subscribe and turn on the notification bell. If you haven't already, check out these links I have on the screen to see me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you like my content and would like to support what I do here, there's a link to my Patreon account in the description, and a donation would be much appreciated. In any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.